From translation, TLB, the Living Bible. This 303 day of the year. Today we are reading passages Luke 14 to 16. Luke chapter 14, verses 1 to 35. One Sabbath day Jesus went to eat in the home of a prominent Pharisee, and the crowd was watching him closely. There a man with a diseased hand was watching Jesus, and he knew that Jesus was going to heal him on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what the Pharisees were thinking, and he said to the man with the diseased hand, "Stand up where everyone can see you." The man stood up. Then Jesus said to them, "Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath days, or is it a day for doing evil? Is this a day to save life or to destroy it?" But they wouldn't answer. Looking around at them all, Jesus said to the man, "Reach out your hand." And the man reached out his hand and was healed. But the Pharisees were furious and began to discuss with each other what they might do to Jesus. When Jesus noticed how the guests chose the places of honor at the table, he told them this story. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, don't take the best seat. What if someone more distinguished than you has been invited? The host will come and say, "Let this person have your seat." Then you will be embarrassed, have to take the last seat reserved for the least important guests. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Then he said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or dinner, don't invite your friends or brothers or relatives or rich neighbors, lest they invite you back, and so you be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid when the good people rise again from the dead." When Jesus heard this, he said, "That's a fine excuse for you. You invite me to your home and place me at the table where the best food is served. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. And you will be happy, for they have nothing to give you in return. You will be repaid when God's good people rise again from the dead." Jesus replied, "A certain man once threw a great feast and invited many people. At supper time he sent his servant to tell the guests, 'Come, everything is ready now.' Another said, 'I have just bought 5 teams of oxen, and I want to try them out. Please excuse me.' A third man said, 'I have just been married, so I can't come.' The servant returned and told his master about this. The master of the house became furious and said, 'Go quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring back the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' After the servant had done this, he reported, 'Master, there is still room for more.' So his master said, 'Go out into the country lanes and behind the hedges and compel people to come in until my house is full. For none of those I first invited will even get to taste my dinner.' Large crowds were following Jesus, and he turned and said to them, 'And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and can't finish it, everyone will mock you. They will say, 'This person started that building but couldn't complete it.' And if he can't, he will send a delegation to ask for terms of peace while the other army is still far away. So you cannot become my disciple unless you give up everything you own. It is fit neither for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown away. Anyone with ears to hear should listen." Luke chapter 15, verses 1 to 32. Now the tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people, even eating with them. So Jesus told them this story, "And when you find it, you will be so glad that you will put it on your shoulders and carry it home. Then you will call together your friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice with me because I have found my lost sheep.' In the same way, heaven will be happier over one lost sinner who returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. And when she finds it, she will call in her friends and neighbors and say, 'Rejoice with me because I have found the coin I lost.' In the same way, there is joy in the presence of God's angels when even one sinner repents." The younger son told his father, "Father, give me my share of the money." So his father divided the money between them. A few days later, this younger son packed his clothes and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man was so hungry he would have eaten the pods the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger." So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard the music and dancing in the house, and he asked one of the servants what was going on. "Your brother is back," he was told, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, "Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. We had to celebrate this happy day. For your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found." Luke chapter 16, verses 2 to 23. The rich man called him in and said, "What's this I hear about you? Turn in your account of management, because you can't be my manager any longer. I know what I'll do so that people will welcome me into their homes when I lose my job." So he invited each person who owed money to his master to come in and discuss the situation. He asked the first one, "How much do you owe my master?" 800 gallons of olive oil, the man replied. The manager said, "Take your bill, sit down quickly and write it down as 400. Then he asked the next man, "And you, how much do you owe?" 1,000 bushels of wheat, he was told. "Take your bill and write it down as 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted so shrewdly. For this world's people are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the people of light. And I tell you, make friends by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own?" The Pharisees, who dearly loved their money, heard all this and scoffed at him. "Until John the Baptist, the law of Moses and the messages of the prophets were your guides. But now the good news of the kingdom of God is preached, and everyone is urging you to enter it. But it is easier for heaven and earth to disappear than for the smallest detail of God's law to fail." At his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus who was covered with sores. As he lay there longing for scraps from the rich man's table, the dogs would come and lick his sores. Finally, the poor man died and was carried by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried, and he went to the place of the dead. There, in the place of the dead, he was in torment, with flames all around him. He looked up and saw Abraham in the far distance with Lazarus beside him.